Just want to take you back to Boksburg. There seems to be an impromptu media briefing where the ANC is holding its first NEC meeting of the year. It's all unfolding at the Burchard Hotel. Speaking now, or in just a moment, is the Secretary General of the ANC in Fikile Mbalula. You can see he's flanked by the spokesperson of the party in Mahlengi, Bengu Mutsiri. The big talking point, of course, around this first meeting of the year is around the launch of this new smart card that's introduced by the African National Congress, which the president hopes will make joining the party a whole lot more seamless. It seems that briefing is starting. Let's listen in.
It feels like we've spent a lot of time the whole day with you already, but we're here with the Secretary General who is going to address yourselves about what the next 4 days of the National Executive Committee will be looking at, and also this being the first National Executive Committee meeting in 2025. Over to you, SG.
Thank you very much, Mahlengi, our spokesperson. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, first we'd like to thank the media for covering our launch of the membership card, which is an ANC process purely in terms of improving its own systems when it comes to the renewal agenda of the organization. Membership card launch is an important feature, a very important feature of the organization in terms of the conference mandate of building a new membership system for the African National Congress. It spans decades of years in which the membership card of the ANC was not developed. So today we're launching. Last time we launched the political education, massive political education program called Foundational Course, focusing on improving the political education of members. So we are on course in relation to the ANC revamping itself internally, renewing itself, and making it a point that it becomes a tool at the disposal of the people of South Africa to serve our people diligently. Now we are going to commence with the National Executive Committee of the ANC, which will end on Monday. As we meet here today, we'll start with the political overview of the president, which will obviously deal with contemporary issues that are before us, domestic and international. The president will touch on a whole lot of other issues that he may deem necessary that the National Executive Committee need to focus on. Of course, key to us is the question of the national budget. Which is important, that the budget must be passed, government can stabilize going forward. We will then, after the president political overview, deal with the global situation. We'll look at the global situation in terms of the African continent and the world, and also the recent developments in terms of South Africa-US relations. We'll deal with that, the implications of that for our country, and what necessary steps that we need to take to safeguard, among others, our sovereignty. But most importantly, how do we ensure that South Africa as a country that we belong to does, live up to its obligations in the bilateral relations with nations, but also in terms of its obligations when it comes to multilateral forums. So that will be the main discussion today and tomorrow. That tells you that we will be much focused and zoom in on the global situation, which is very much important for the African National Congress, but for South Africa as a whole. And then we will deal with organizational matters on the third or second day in terms of our program. The Secretary General will table the annual report of the ANC. This will be our second annual report that will table as guided by the Constitution and obligated by the ANC Constitution to deliver the annual report of the African National Congress. But this annual report will be accompanied by yet another resolution of conference where we will table leadership accountability survey of the ANC. It's the first time it was resolved in the national conference. As part of the renewal agenda, we have done this survey and then we'll present to the National Executive Committee. And we hope to share that survey with you post the National Executive Committee in terms of the ANC leadership survey, accountability of leadership survey. We will then from there deal with matters that are more internal, reporting on the National Working Committee report on the work that we have undertaken in the past 2 months as the National Working Committee at an organizational level, visiting provinces, implementing decisions of the NEC, reconfiguring provinces, and then fighting by-elections. And at the same time, dealing with matters of the program of action like membership, organization building, and at the same time, political education programs of the ANC. So that's what the report in the main will deal with. The last part of our report will deal with normal issues in terms of standard items of the agenda. That happens in every meeting, like minutes and so on. So those are not key political matters that have got an impact on the environmental situation politically of our country. And the President will then deliver the closing remarks on Monday in terms of our tasks. In this meeting, there will be a report that will be given of the Integrity Commission by Reverend Chikani. He will deliver the Integrity Commission report in terms of its recommendations, and I'm not privy to disclose yet as to what are those matters that he will deliver. The cases that they've been dealing with will only announce after the meeting of the NEC, including what are the recommendations and the decisions of the NEC on the recommendations of the Integrity Commission reports that would have been delivered. Integrity Commission is a permanent, is got a permanent feature in the agenda of the NEC, as would have announced some years back. We'll also receive a report called investigative report from a committee that was selected by the NEC, by Mam Tembi Majola, Comrade Tembi Majola, a report on investigating the lease processes in the ANC. You know that there were provinces that were affected by the lease, Gauteng, KZN, as well as Northwest. That report is complete. It will be presented to the NEC with recommendations so that we perfect our processes. So that is our National Executive Committee in terms of the issues that we'll be dealing with for this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SG. I'm going to take hands. Let's try and be crisp. ENCA?
SG clearly took the notes from the ENCA. Just give an update on the discussions with the SABC.
All right, so there you have it. Fikile Mbalula, the Secretary General of the ANC, outlining the roadmap for the next couple of days. It's a 4-day NEC meeting set to wrap up with the President's closing remarks on Monday. And it's wide-ranging, as you can expect, from issues to do with passing the national budget to South Africa's strained relations with the United States. Fikile Mbalula is going to deliver the annual report at some stage, while there's also going to be feedback from the work done by the Integrity Commission, and that's going to be led by Reverend Frank Chikane. Of course, the SABC will be watching each and every movement at the Birchwood Hotel throughout the course of the weekend. Make sure you keep up with the latest here on the SABC News Channel.